when they went into game 2 and kind of just laid down and took it. It was very, not what I was expecting after coming out so strong up against DMG. We are going to jump straight into the ban and pick, and immediately Koshka does get banned out here by PHOBIA.
Yeah, question is, are they going to leave that Celeste pick? And it's actually going to be a Sky ban, so the Celeste may just be first picked here, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah. So, two main heroes that are still left up are Arden and Adagio, two of the highest win rates in the VIPL currently. Adagio is up at around 85%, Arden at 69%, but is going to pick up that Scarf first, it looks like.
Interesting. So prioritizing that Scarf, that was the Wild successful game, was by using that Scarf with a high degree of peel, but they're going for a different strategy. Not taking the Arden, taking the Catherine. That is weird.
I also can't agree with taking Scarf right now. They could save that for last pick. We already have the laner for PHOBIA. They don't need to take Scarf away. And I feel like they're giving up two huge picks, especially by not picking up Arden as well.
Yeah, the nice thing about Scarf is that if you have somebody, and when they played Scarf previously, they played it with Adagio Arden, so you have tons of peel for the Scarf in the backline and an ability to kind of get a full channel ultimate down with enough peel and enough AoE CC, but they're going for the single target CC in terms of Catherine instead, and we could just see more of the same. Vox, Celeste, and Arden, a very comfortable composition for PHOBIA. They're just going to play what they've been playing so far in this tournament.
I think a bit of trolling here from Mong. I thought he was actually going to pick Petal. Now hovering over Black Feather. Don't think we will see him either. Going back to the Petal.
And they're going to lock it.
Oh, boy.
All right. So, Petal does do very well against team compositions that want to move in, because you can trigger your ultimate while everyone is trying to get into the mix. And so if that Vox wants to deal maximum damage, he does have to get in quite close range and start moving through the team. But still have to say, a little bit awkward composition here from Wild.
Oh, yes.
In this first game. We'll see if they can make it work. They gave PHOBIA just a comfort composition. One they've run before, the Vox and the Celeste combo. And we're going to get right into the first game of the day here on the VIPL. Group A, Korea versus Korea, battle for the wild card seed right now as these teams try to keep their tournament hopes alive. Will be PHOBIA with a comfort composition going up against Wild, who living up to their name and giving us something a little bit wacky.
Yeah, let's talk about these compositions a little bit before we get too into the game. I think that PHOBIA won this ban pick phase by miles. Like, as you were saying it before, they got their comfort picks. They were given them, essentially. Like I was saying before, they didn't have to pick the Scarf here first. Wild did not have to. I'm not really sure why they did that. You're never going to see, like, Celeste, Scarf, Arden, or something like that. You know that PHOBIA is not going to take it. I don't understand the first pick. And then we see Petal, who you were talking about. It's great against teams that want to jump into you, but essentially it's going to be Arden that's going to be straight up in your face, and he's going to eat a ton of the damage, and he's going to be super tanky. So from there, I don't really see Petal being all that significant in these team fights here, but maybe Mong's been practicing them, or her rather, and we're going to see something new here from a Petal in this tournament. But just judging by what we've seen so far, I would definitely have to give the win there in the ban pick phase to PHOBIA.
Yeah, and the Catherine too. It just, you have some squishy backliners here who generally require a lot of peel. So see what Night Ray and the rest of them can do on Wild to make this work. Certainly they've played some of these heroes before, but when we've seen Petal previously in the VIPL, when Hunters ran it, it was against SK and their ability. They wanted to get it all in with a lane Rona. It was a great counter pick.
Yeah, it was like Rona, Fortress, and
Koshka.
Koshka, yeah. So
that was G2's picks, excuse me. But yes, the not SK's. But yes, the 3 melee composition, and Petal worked as a last pick there quite well. Last picked again this game, and we'll have to see how well it can work here.
Yeah, I'm going to be very excited to see what they can actually do with this. You were talking about how Wild can get a bit wild sometimes in their play. That may lead to some of their inconsistencies in the game as well. I can't help but feeling, you know, like Mong, he's such an interesting personality and he's so energetic all the time. I hope he's not like leading this team into not being focused and not being prepared for the game, because I don't know, man. He's like laughing the entire time as he's, you know, hovering over the pedal. It seems like a troll, and then he actually picks it, where it doesn't seem to make too much sense in this composition. So I'm kind of worried, but I hope that they can prove me wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mong now coming in, gets a stun off, but easily turned around, takes about half his HP and damage when he enters the lane.
Catherine wants you, and it says Phobia fighting, but Catherine's on Wild this time around.
All right, a little bit of a scrap here as February's going to face check the lane brush. You know, Wild so far, they've been playing very conservatively in the jungle. They've actually given up a few of the forward camps to Phobia, just trying to scale up. But both compositions going to be scaling pretty darn well into the late game with Celeste and Vox versus Petal and Scarf. And not really a convincing poke advantage for either team either, with Celeste and Scarf on opposite sides. So should see a lot of just sieging and poke-based play in the late game.
Yeah, and when it does come to just straight-up engagements as well, if we can see like a fantastic gauntlet that gets dropped down by February, he's proven it before that he is a fantastic Garden player, and they essentially Wild like lobbed that softball into February's hands, and he easily caught it. And I feel like, you know, with this composition, of course, what you're going to go for is a gauntlet, and then you get all those AoE spells from both Vox and his bouncing damage and the Celeste and her stuns, her AoE damage, and you essentially bottleneck everybody into one specific space, or you could try to trap the Scarf as well, who's going to be very squishy. And really excited to seeing how some of those team fights are going to go
Night
down.
Ray, Spectro's going to come in right now with that Vanguard. He's going to try and get away with the help of his boots. Zeratul is there to try and turn this around. Nice attempt at a gank. Spectro burning a little bit, throws the Solar Storm. That was well off the mark. Stun coming through, and that's a kill for Mong in the end. Turned around very well. Mong's been hovering around that lane the entire time. So is February. So it's been all about the lane and the wave control right now. Each team trying to push, and I think they get the drop on Night Ray, but they can't follow up just enough yet. They don't have a lot of hard CC, and that's going to mean...
Yeah, well, let's take a look at Night Ray's jukes here. Uses the boots to speed past the core collapse, of course. This is a majorly whiffed Solar Storm, and then Zeratul jumping in with the pedal. Nice follow-up by Mong to secure the kill. We were talking about star players from Wild. Night Ray is definitely showing that he wants to win tonight with that play.
Yeah, very nice, and they are going to go ahead and take the gold miner. Pretty close to after spawn, so not too much of a gold advantage yet, but it's going ahead and taking that after the kill in the lane. Night Ray, pretty hefty farm advantage right now, up about 20 CS already.
Really showing how he can put on the pressure there. And we do see Celeste is slightly ahead of the pedal, but that really does come down to what you were talking about before. They were being a bit more aggressive. Celeste is very strong at around level 1 and 2, especially in the jungle. You can check all the brushes with your Heliogenesis. You could do a ton of damage, follow up with you know, Supernovas that are going to do a lot of damage, even at level 1 or 2, without too many items. So using that to their advantage.
It's a little scrapping right there below the lane. Zeratul looking for the enemy jungle right now as they take the bottom camps. A little bit of trading back and forth, but everything pretty much even right now. You see a mine right there on the healing camp, the forward healing camp. So good scout trap placement here coming in from Wild. They have a lot of knowledge about where Phobia is on the map at any given time with all of these scout traps at the camps.
Yeah. I wonder if we're going to get to a point in Vainglory where teams begin to study each other's walking patterns through the jungles, and they specifically place scout traps in, you know, outside of those patterns so that they always get the vision and they don't get triggered. That would be very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you see the scout trap locations on these. They're very unlikely to be stepped on while the jungle camps are being done. So Wild just has a very good idea and control of the map right now. See what they can do with it. so far just seem to be happy playing mostly an avoidance game in the jungle.
Yeah, for sure. Really like what Wild is doing in terms of controlling this entire jungle. Very, very early gold mine. That you see the minion candies on there. We were talking about all the scout traps that were placed before. And it seems like they're just going to try the strategy where they slowly suffocate PHOBIA here. And just not allow them to get the gold mine. Try to get 1 or 2 extra minions in the jungle here and there. And just try to eventually push out the lane as well.
Keep on holding back. Wild playing very conservatively. Now they have that vision. Mong taking a bit extra damage there from the heliogenesis before backing off. But yeah, Wild just seems to be happy farming right now. Getting up into some of these bigger items. Broken Myth already onto Night Ray.
Yeah, very excited to see his Scarf play a little bit later on here. He's pretty much the only guy that plays Scarf. I think we saw one other person playing it because he's only played 1 game, but 2 games of Scarf have come out so far.
Yeah, Liege is the other one. And there's the gauntlet thrown, and that just completely misses. Boots used by Zeratul, but there is no gauntlet here. PHOBIA really playing with fire. Night Ray coming through. They get the payout, but are they going to win the fight afterwards? Zeratul already low. Solar Storm going to get blocked. There's 1 down for Wild. Silence now onto Celeste. And here we go. Scarful just going to melt Celeste in the end. And that'll be so far 2 for none. And are they going to take February down? He's going to try and get the Vanguard. Zeratul just pop right out the other side. And now they can push onto this turret with the ace and actually get some of that gold back that they just lost. Very risky to fight without that gauntlet.
Oh yes, very sloppy team fight overall. Gauntlet misses. Didn't really see the blast tremor hit too many people as well. Petal just gets totally wrecked, but at the same time, Vox is like trying to 1v3 by himself. Not much support from his teammates. The fight was kind of all over the place, but at least they were able to get the gold mine and a pretty decent gold payout here.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look at that. Dice used the sprint boot active there from Zeratul to dodge that, but then going up and following right through. Mong already on the flank. Oh, that core collapse too. Used very, very early.
Yeah. So you can see they do get the gold mine here, but they're jumping in and taking way, way too much damage. The one thing that's very hard to do against a Petal, you were talking about this, is you can't really jump in on her. She's always going to be able to escape and just use that distance to her advantage.
Also, another missed Solar Storm from Spectro on the hero that he has played exclusively this season in the VIPL. So he needs to be able to land those abilities. Missed ults cost quite a bit right there. PHOBIA was fortunate to kind of get that. Core Collapse is going to miss, but no stun coming in. Catherine either.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you could say before level 9, before you get the level 2 in your C, it's a bit harder to hit that Solar Storm. It's pretty small, it's only got 3 stars, but even then.
All right, here we go. We're going to see PHOBIA come in once again. Mong and Zeratul already quite low. Solar Storm just going to clip Mong, but not doing a whole lot else, and Wild will retreat over to the gold miner. Don't want them to take this. Mong is low. Zeratul trying to get that healing camp to get a little bit more HP. And nice poking coming in from Night Ray, really dissuading PHOBIA from taking an assault there onto the gold miner.
Yeah. Another kind of broken fight there. We saw another Solar Storm just barely clip Mong. Not really getting the damage that they want. I'm not sure that he should have used it to try to take out Mong there either. I mean, the gold mine is not that far along. You know, even if they were able to take that fight, they weren't going to get much out of it. So kind of got to question the use of the Solar Storm there. I'm also sensing a bit of hesitation out of PHOBIA here in these fights. They're going in, but they're not really going in. They're kind of disjointed. One person goes in by themselves and dies. It's kind of awkward so far.
Yeah, they don't seem very committed or all on the same page. And now that Wild has the opportunity to fully push up this minion wave to that tier 2 turret, they're getting a lot more control over PHOBIA's jungle. Starting to move in and repeatedly take those forward camps. Got some nice traps in the PHOBIA tri-brush. And just making sure they keep that gold miner protected. And that's all Wild has to do right now. They can play a very defensive, poke-oriented game if they want to. And just wait for PHOBIA to make some mistakes in taking this miner. Yeah,
it's a very suffocating strategy, as we were talking about before, and To be honest, I haven't seen enough very late game pedal. We'll hold that thought.
And here we go. Mong looking for his stun. Not going to find anything. Kill me just sonic zooming backwards. Core collapse onto Mong for the stun, so they prevent the engage right there. But it's really just Wild buying more time in the end. They'll take those trades at this point.
Yeah, they got to be careful about this push that's coming down onto their turret. They're going to have to rotate around here, but they're in danger of getting gauntleted.
Zerto will just pop right over the terrain, so not too big of a concern. And let's clear this out right now. PHOBIA doesn't seem to have a plan here of what exactly they're going to do to get back into this one. They're really marching to the beat of Wild's drum at the moment.
So much poking coming out of Night Ray. You can tell how he really leads his team with this. Like, long before these fights go down, he's poking them with so many Spitfires. They can't even go for an engage because they're losing way too much health before the engagement even happens.
It's clearing out the scout traps too. And once again pushing the wave. We're just waiting on that full gold mine right now, and not much probably going to happen here unless PHOBIA decides they want to take a fight before the 15-minute mark in the Kraken spawn.
Getting a nice push down here with the Munions. And yeah, I mean, what I was saying before, I haven't seen enough super late game pedal to know like which one of these teams is going to be much stronger towards late game, but I would have to give a slight advantage, even not knowing too much about the pedal, to PHOBIA. With both the Vox and the Celeste. We've seen what Druid can do once you hit like 3-4 item Vox. It's just unreal amounts of damage. And even though they are both crystal power, they're both going crystal power here, the Vox and the Celeste, like you can only build so much shield. And once they both hit 3-4 items, it's going to be huge amounts of damage. And of course, Arden getting a huge amount of health. His Vanguards are going to be out of control. Would definitely have to give the advantage to them towards late game, but I'm very interested to see what Petal's going to be able to do before they get there.
Well, yeah, Night Ray too, you know, he's come in here. You can see how much damage he did to that turret. Wild, even though they may not have the advantage in terms of a team fight, they've been managing just to not even fight very much. I mean, we have 4 kills in this game at 14 minutes, and Night Ray, the Goop Spitfire combo, burns down those turrets so quickly that as long as they can just keep avoiding and snowballing their gold lead,
yeah,
they should be just fine. It's the ball's really in the court of PHOBIA right now to try and set up some sort of favorable team fight, because Wild simply doesn't look like they want to engage.
Yeah, it's very interesting. The more we see this and the more we talk about it, it seems like also even the Catherine pick over the Arden was mainly just to help out in this kind of avoidance strat, just to distance, because she's very good at disengage. If you want to run into a Catherine, you're going to get stunned immediately, and you're also going to get a huge silence if he's in a good position. We've seen Mong can be a fantastic Catherine in the past, and so far I like the way that the Catherine works in accordance with this Scarf and the pedal.
Yep, 15-minute Kraken right now. Of course, that goes down very quickly with the percent HP from Scarf, so they can just pick that one up immediately. And here comes the siege as they move on through. Go buy some items, clear out a couple extra jungle camps, and start moving forward with the Kraken on the map. Minion Wave in a very good spot to hit at the same time the Kraken does.
Yeah. Taking a small look at items before we go into this fight. Double Aegis picked up on the side of Wild. They know the amount of damage that will come out eventually from Team PHOBIA. Also a Fountain of Renewal to help out with some of that shield and some of that regen. Also, a Frostburn picked up on Petal just to help with some kiting.
Oh, here we go. There's the engage. They're going to catch Kill Me out of the front. Spitfire goes down. He's going to take about half his HP. But that's it. More poke coming through. Zeratul also getting a bunch of damage done to him. But they're going to make it work and actually get into the base right now of PHOBIA. Kraken a little under half HP. And is PHOBIA going to heal this one up? You can see the Heliogenesis coming. Oh, my. Solar Storm missing again. There's a 3-man silence coming through, and not quite going to kill the crystal turrets yet. And PHOBIA buys themselves a little bit of time, but again, Spectro just not hitting anything with his ults this game.
I mean, I don't know what's going on. This is very, very worrying for PHOBIA. They need someone to step up to the plate when they are about to... They're trying to qualify for the wildcard matches tonight, and if their star Celeste player cannot hit her stars, then, I mean... they're just not going to do well. You really have to hand it to Wild, though. They're doing a fantastic job with this push strat, with their distancing strat. I don't even know what to call it, but they picked up double Frostburn at this point as well. It's very, very obvious that they want nobody from Phobia to get anywhere near them. You saw even the Arden there. February had to use the Gauntlet defensively to try to get some damage down onto that Kraken to stop the push, but even then it didn't really help out all that much. One of the Vein Crystal turrets also took a bunch of damage.
Yeah, this is, and Wild, they can just sit back. All they need to do, they've been playing a very smooth, clean macro game and just outplaying Phobia in terms of jungle pressure, vision, control of the lanes and the siege. So at this point for Wild, they can just kind of wait for the Kraken to get back up again. Mong is just going on a mission to clear out every single scout trap in the enemy jungle. They can set up their own traps and just wait. There's no need to push anything right here. I mean, this is a game that could end with theoretically with 4 kills, depending on how it goes. They're going to try and engage right now, but Night Ray is going to back off. Only Mong hit by the Gauntlet. And Phobia's team fighting has been really off this game. Their engages haven't been there.
Yeah, something's going on.
Here we go. There's the War Horn coming through. Mong going to take a bunch of damage up front. More poke coming in. 3-man ultimate. Hits Phobia, and their Spectro does hit Night Ray with the Solar Storm. That time, Night Ray actually getting very low. Is going to have to back off right now. Coming back in, has laid down a zone with the Goop and the Spitfire. So it will dissuade Phobia from a follow-up through that choke point, and nothing really happening there.
Yeah, that fight was on a knife's edge there. You saw Night Ray getting very, very low, but the zoning that you were talking about was very, very nice from both Mong and Night Ray. You had Zeratul in the lane, I think, is zoning out Kill B at the same time. And at the end of it all, just no one dies, and we back off once again. I think this definitely favors Team Wild, because this is what they were going for a very long time. But it does give Phobia a little bit of, pressure release. They do get to at least clear out some of the scout traps that are on the backside of their jungle. They can, begin to put down some scout traps of their own, try to get some vision maybe towards that Kraken if possible.
I mean, look at this too. Just the difference in itemization between these two teams. Phobia really not going for a lot of defensive statistics. Meanwhile, take a look. Like you said earlier, Valdez, and Night Ray actually going to get caught out right there. Doesn't get hit by the core collapse thanks to the reflex block. Kill B down the front line. He is going to have to try and kite this. February on top of the Goop, and he actually gets the Gauntlet interrupted right there. February trying to get out, and that's not going to work. Night Ray with an ultimate, but he is going to barely make it out alive. What chaotic fight right there. Zeratul on the other side. They want to poke out Spectro. Spectro finally doing a good job of landing these Heliogeneses. And can he get back to base is the question. Victory in the end for Wild, but again, a bit of a sloppy fight. They did manage to interrupt the Gauntlet, though, which was a major game changer right there.
Yeah, that was huge. And Night Ray, even though he did get caught, he was able to get out of there so quickly. Just as we were talking about, the disengage from Catherine, getting the stun down onto Vox so that Kilby could not get close enough to finish off Night Ray. And just a lot of, once Night Ray got into position, and as you mentioned, the Gauntlet was taken down, or interrupted rather, he was just given so much room to sit back and do his damage. Not sure why they're not taking the Kraken here, actually.
Well, they were getting very, very low right there, so decided now wasn't going to be the time to go ahead and take it. And so they will back up. I think they could have finished it there too, but they didn't know necessarily where Catherine was. They had lost a lot of vision in the enemy jungle by that time.
That is true. So, unfortunately going to... Well, I'm not sure if it's really unfortunate. They've been playing this very, very safe game from the very beginning. And maybe this is just a theme that they want to go along with, especially after Night Ray got a little bit caught out there. They just want to kind of back off, catch their breath, and go into the next fight on their terms.
Yeah, they will win the poke war too, again, just because of the defensive stats. You look at Night Ray and Zeratul. I mean, look how much shield Zeratul has right now compared to the amount that's on Spectro or Kill B. Just very few defensive items. Mong gonna actually engage right there. Crucible will stop the silence. Gauntlet is thrown down. Night Ray stunned up. Just have to start dodging these stars. Zeratul on the side with Kill B. They're corralling them back into their own jungle right now. Night Ray just gonna come all the way through. And there's the Solar Storm that actually lands. Night Ray questionably just moving into the enemy team. He actually sprinted through the brush.
Yeah, that was very surprising. I wasn't expecting that kind of play, but It's also possible that he misclicked right over the wall. That's happened to me before, and you're like trying to sprint back or try to sprint up towards the wall to try to, just get a better angle. But either way, maybe just a bit too aggressive, and it looks like PHOBIA is going to have a good chance here to take down the Kraken now.
Yeah, they're trying to split their attention, and looks like the rest of Wild are going to have to back off. So the second Kraken of the game goes to PHOBIA as they recover after that fight. Now they're going to be pushing forward, looking for their first turret of the game. There we go, setting up for the siege. Night Ray back up in just a couple of seconds. So he will be here for the defense.
Yeah. This is going to be very interesting here because Scarf is going to be fantastic to stop this, but he's not in position. So they're definitely going to lose this turret here. And the Kraken's still at around full health. So going to have a very strong push onto this turret. This should be a profitable Kraken here. And let's see if they can set up a fight as well.
Try and take that turret. Remember, you do have to take 2 turrets for the Kraken to be worthwhile, because if you take one, sure, you get 300 gold a person, but you give up 500 for the Kraken. So to make the Kraken economical, 2 turrets is pretty much the minimum.
Yeah, very true. And they're going to back off, and after getting that second turret, as you said, very profitable, they go and take the second minion mine as well. So PHOBIA finally beginning to get some ground under their feet and get some pushes going. And they're going to have a huge amount of pressure on that lane. They've cleared out all of those scout traps. You remember what it looked like 5 minutes ago. It was like, a teenager with a bunch of acne. There was like way too many red dots. Yeah, all over that map. So they've cleared all of that up,
It's good.
And,
we've matured into the late game, so the
exactly.
acne has disappeared. I see how it is.
Yeah. And now it's looking a lot better, cleared up with a bunch more blue dots. And definitely getting some ground on their feet here. And let's see if they can get some better engagements going. I feel like both of these teams are really just trying to force it on their terms, but I feel like they have to wait until someone on the opposite side makes a mistake. We've seen, well, hold that thought.
Reflex block on the stun right there. Nice trade for PHOBIA. Get a bunch of damage down onto Mong. And they're still looking for that opening. Minion Candy on the wave right now, actually, so just trying to keep control of that. There's the Gauntlet coming down. He's going to catch 3 people in there. Zeratul is stunned, and then Chain stunned with the core collapse. Night Ray stunned on the outside again. Zeratul just falls. Great engage there from PHOBIA. They get the fight they want, finally. Night Ray is going to get hit by that Solar Storm, and he is also going to die in the end. They're looking for that ace. Mong is in vision, and they're going to chase him all the way back. He's got nowhere to go. You can't recall there, buddy. He's going to dodge around, dodge that core collapse, get a stun off, buy as much time as he possibly can. But in the meantime, PHOBIA's other 2 players are streaking towards the Wild base.
And finally, he does go down. So they are going to get that ace buff. And they're going to use that to try to push this turret even before the minions are here. Febri's got to be a bit careful. One more shot, and he's almost dead. But there you go, minions coming in. They are going to be able to get that. But finally, what I was talking about, wait for Night Ray to overstep his bounds. He's done it like 3 or 4 times in this game, and he does it there once again. And finally, PHOBIA get the perfect team fight that they wanted. Zeratul was like a non-factor in that fight.
Well, I mean, that Gauntlet just comes down immediately. And remember, there is no Crucible on Wild, so they have no real recourse against that as a team.
Yeah, and if you look at Kilby's positioning during that fight as well, totally protected. Night Ray was on the total opposite side of the gauntlet. He couldn't get near Kilby if he wanted to. And even with how tanky and how much shield Petal has at this point, she eventually will go down if Kilby has 5+ seconds to, rain hell down on her.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mong, he's decided that he's going to go for that clockwork, opting for some faster cooldowns rather than pick up a Crucible, which could really help against these Ardent engages, that's for sure. Sure, the double Aegis also there, but is a bit of an issue still, as we saw in that last fight.
Yeah, I definitely would have liked to see the Crucible coming out. I do agree with you.
Here we go again. Gauntlet going to fall. Night Ray is going to Aegis that. Zeratul a little bit late on the reflex block. Is he going to go down? Solar Storm misses. Mong still there trying to peel. Turns it around with the silence. Kilby trapped on top of the goop. And here is a huge ultimate from Night Ray as they try and actually clean up some of these fights. And Febri low. Zeratul chasing him. 2 members from Wild pursuing Spectro. Mong gonna get that stun finally. There's the goop, and the ace Looks like it may go the other way. I've seen this somewhere before, Valdez.
Yeah, and this is very interesting. It's pretty late in this game, 27 minutes. The longest game we've had so far in the VIPL was, I think, 29 minutes.
29, yeah.
And maybe 30 seconds, so very, very long death timers here. They're going to take both minion mines and just go for the push. They're not even bothering with the Kraken. They still have so much time.
I think this is the smart play here, just because that Goop Spitfire combination takes down the turret so quickly. They also have a pedal ult that just came out. There's a huge minion candy, and they're just going to go for the win right now. See if February can be the hero, but I don't think that's going to be enough. Wild finally going to close out this game in a long one. Gauntlet down. Here comes Kill B, though. They're focusing on the Crystal. Night Ray just trying to burn it. Wild will get it. Wild will win and send themselves to that wild card match.